Well, let's introduce Mike. Lindsey Wauge here from the Ocotillo Performing Arts Center, and
Hi.
our weekly update. And let's talk about the artist in residence and introduce this month's special guest. She points
Mike
at him.
Campos. He is a multimedia artist out of Carlsbad that actually a coworker and friend of my husband's introduced me to. And so he showed me his stuff, and I was like, oh, I love it. And he works on stone, he works on wood, he does amazing chalk art. So if you guys have not come by the Ocotillo yet, you need to come check it out because it's awesome.
Okay. So is it chalk art, or do you work with other material?
No limits as far as the media. Chalk, acrylic paints, oils. I'll dabble in just about anything.
Okay.
So wood burning, glass etching, just being creative is what it's all about. So no limits, but I do prefer acrylic paint, and then of course chalk is the newfound adventure right now.
So you saw the kids drawing on the sidewalk, and you said, I think that's what I'm going to do now.
That's exactly right.
Is that right?
That's exactly. There's something about sitting on the ground kind of makes you feel like a kid again, and it's very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
Yeah, the problem with sitting on the ground feeling like a kid again is that then you got to get up.
Yeah, at some point you do.
That's not being a kid again. That's reality sets back in.
Exactly.
So how long have you been drawing?
Really, honestly, seriously, probably 8 to 10 years, and just experimenting, meeting other artists, and seeing their media, and trying to figure out how they do things, how we do things, and nothing more creative than being in a room full of other artists.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So when you were younger in school, were you a doodler?
Oh yes,
you were.
Very much so. All my homework, all my papers. I'm left-handed, so I tended to turn the spiral backwards, so that leaves that left edge.
Did I tell you the joke about left-handed people?
No.
We're always in our right minds.
Oh, that's exactly right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mike. Yeah, keep talking,
that left that blank left edge of the paper, and I doodled a lot. So.
And you couldn't leave it blank. You had to put some.
No.
So did you doodle based on what the teacher was saying, or just what was going on in the classroom?
No, just creative stuff, and I still managed to absorb what they were talking about, but I could doodle and draw, and my friends did as well, and we just enjoyed it. It's just a fun thing to do.
So after school, did you go to college or trade school? Or?
I did go to college. I took some college classes. I finally got brave enough to take a college art class, and that's kind of what put it all together for me. Is that length of several years of college classes really defined my art and gave me a direction, not necessarily a subject matter, because I'm from one end to the other, but definitely a direction, and just kind of refined, I would say, the drawing process.
Yeah. Hopefully you had some good instructors while you were in college. You didn't have any of those that came in and said, Mike, you're doing it all wrong.
No. They definitely led you in the right direction.
That's good.
And we're also very open to your subject matter. So that's probably the biggest of the process is not having any limits, and just enjoying what you're doing, and you come up with good results that way.
Yeah.
And you can imagine why I was excited to have him at the Ocotillo.
Yeah.
And the same as like with Justin, just so passionate about what he does. I was really super excited also to have somebody from Carlsbad, because this is my first artist contact that I've made, in Carlsbad.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of folks over in Roswell, and so, Nick was like, hey, I know somebody, you should. I was like, yeah.
So as you were driving into town today, did the shirt start itching? Did you run into you're in Artesia now?
That's no. We're rivals, but we're neighbors.
That's right. That's
exactly.
Exactly.
I think of rivalry as just like your next door neighbor with the green grass, right? You're trying to match his green grass.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a rivalry there, but we're still neighbors.
Now, where it goes beyond that is when you burn a a letter in the neighbor's grass.
That's-
You know,
that's-
that's.
No, this is true. This is true.
Like, I feel like there's a story there, Gene.
Oh no, not anything I was involved in. So but did you go to college to be an artist, or?
Yes, I was actually going to try to get a art degree and teach art.
Okay.
But I'm also employed in the oil field, and that's a good business, and it's made a good living for me. So I had to decide one way or the other. But I had enough art training that I can now do workshops, and I sell work, and we raise money for charity. So I found a way to let my art help around the community, and still I can enjoy my art and still teach people. So
In fact, the collection that's down at the Ocotillo will be going for auction for a charity auction.
Yes.
That is fantastic. So all this time you were able to work and take care of your family, but then you still get to. So where do you get your inspiration if you're out? I mean, are you out in the field, or are you in the office?
I am now in the office, but I spent many years out in the field. As far as inspiration is everywhere. It honestly is everywhere. Whether you're, like I said, out in the outdoors, you could be sitting in a restaurant and see something that's really interesting, whether it's a light fixture, the way they've got their furniture set up, just pretty much anything. Plus, I also do some consignment portraits and stuff like that, murals and things like that. But
so do you draw people? Do you draw landscapes? What's your favorite thing?
My favorite is fantasy, and honestly, that is because there are no limits. So I can make a out of shape, non-normal object, and it's okay. So that's probably my favorite. Like I said, I do commission work, but if I was to do a piece for myself, it would definitely be fantasy, maybe some pixies, some fairies, things like that. But it honestly just anything creative is good for me. So I do some pieces for myself, and they're hard to part with, so they're usually not for sale.
Yeah.
But definitely on the fantasy side would be my preference. But I have done windmills and landscapes, and I also draw a lot of cars. So I do a lot of automotive. When I'm doing the fundraisers, especially, they sell well at the car shows, car fans, and it's interesting anyway because cars have really interesting shapes.
They do.
And to try to carry off painting chrome on canvas or on a piece of wood is a challenge, and because chrome really honestly does not have a color. It is just a reflection of colors. So
when you get a request on a vehicle, do they get really, really specific? Like, I want a 1969 Ford Galaxy 500 convertible.
That's exactly right.
They get that specific.
Yeah, sometimes they'll bring me a photo of their favorite car, and they just wanted a hand painted piece. So and sometimes they want it modified, right? What their wish of the car would look like. So you put this great big engine in it with big tires, and that's not necessarily how the car looks, but that's what they would like it to look like. So it's kind of maybe it's a future presentation, right, or something,
or a fantasy, kind of like
that's exactly right.
The characters
that's
that you draw.
Right.
So
I mean, when we talk about cars, I had a friend of mine that brought a 57 Chevy, and he said, I want an engine and it's so big that it looks like the car cannot handle it. So this engine came out really big blower and the whole thing, and it looked like it was just weighing the front end down. And that's what he wanted.
Well, I'm old enough to remember those were popular T-shirts that people would do with their Chevys or their Dodges or their Fords back in the 70s. You'd see the exaggerated.
That's exactly right. I grew up with the Rat Fink and the monster car. It's still a very popular, especially with the car guys, the car enthusiasts. So I do a lot of those. And like I said, these are all fundraising, so they sell well. The guys enjoy them, and it's for a good cause.
So do you decide, today at 4:00 I'm going to draw, or are you something just comes across your desk or your mind, or you see something, so, well, I'm gonna draw that. When do you find time to draw?
It's more the other way around.
Okay.
I have to say, right now I'm going to concentrate on work, or I'm going to do yard work, because the rest of the time is art. And so I actually have to block art out. If I'm in a meeting, I'm usually not holding a pencil and pen, because
You still doodle.
yes, it's going to lead to that.
Now, have you ever taken any of your doodles to like a therapist and had them analyze and tell you what they think you're thinking about?
I would be afraid.
Me too.
No, and he's got such a broad like body of work. Like, I love it. He's got this one piece that has the mug one. Wait, no, the mud jumpers. I'm such a dingbat.
Mud skippers.
The mud skippers. I'm sorry, and it's this little fey creature and with these little mud skippers in the mud, and that one's probably my favorite that he's done.
And that brings up my grandson and I were watching National Geographics, and mud skippers are a fish that kind of moves along the mud, but it almost walks the way it squirms. And he suggested my painting needed some of those in there. So,
yeah, you ought to do a mud skipper.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And the next thing you know,
it's in there.
Yeah,
it's in there. And so that's exactly how it is. It's just, honestly, art is everywhere, right? Whether people write, whether it's poetry or stories, or that's art. A baker, that's artwork. So it's everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I feel the same way. So any chance I get to be creative.
Yeah.
So
here we go. So this is the one I was talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've shown that on the on the
But you
video
know what your
feed.
artwork looks like.
Yeah. So that's great. Yeah, I take it then. At some point in time, you're going to retire from your work, and then that way you can devote full time. So, do you have like a shop at the house or a studio?
I have a studio.
Well, if you ever want to come to the Ocotillo and just create, man, we are all for it.
There are times.
Candace and I'd probably be like just sitting there watching them. It's like, don't we got to get back to work?
Well, does that make you nervous? I mean, when you go into the studio to work, do you close the door and shoo everybody away?
There are times. Usually the door's open and family comes in and out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there are times when the door is closed and it's my time.
And they know don't bother Mike. He's
that's exactly
busy right now.
And sometimes it's with music, sometimes without. And I've grown to enjoy the earbuds now, because I don't have to. The rest of the family doesn't have to listen to my music.
Well, I think they should, but that's another discussion.
Yes.
So did this? Do you know of anybody in your family that you may have gotten this artist bug from? Is there somebody in your family that was an artist in the past?
I think of art like problem solving. So
okay,
we had musicians in the family, and I think it's the same process, I think. So it's, but as far as painting, drawing, no. But there are some crafty people in my family. They whether they knit or they crochet. There's some sketchbook people that, I mean, they do. What are the books that they make? Where they paste the paper on.
Oh, the scrapbooking.
Scrapbooking, very creative stuff. So there's creativity definitely in the family. I happen to be the only one that paints and gets on the ground and does chalk work and stuff. But
yeah. And how about your kids and your grandkids? Are you seeing them encouraging art in them?
I have a grandson that is picking it up. In fact, he now has a table next to mine. So when he feels the urge, he's in there with me.
That's neat.
So he paints as well. He loves to paint.
Have you taken your artwork? I know have your items on display at the Ocotillo, but have you been in shows before? Have you taken your items?
Yes, I enter art shows, and then as far as the chalk work, I enter several chalk festivals. So I'll go to Albuquerque or El Paso, some in Texas as well, and enter those and just try to be creative.
We've already had a couple of people ask if he could come do demos at one of the patriotic events that happens in town, and I was like, I bet he would love it.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and you could also, I was going to say, no, I'll say it off air. I don't want to get in trouble with Lindsey.
Oh, there you go.
So that's great. So your items will be on display. Your work will be on display at the Ocotillo through.
Yeah, through the end of the month, he's got a show
month.
coming up, and whatever he doesn't sell will probably be at the 510 building for the month of October.
Okay.
And then for October, we have our artist of the month coming in, and I will let you know who that is next time.
Next time. No, that's great.
We're focusing on Mike today, so.
Well, Mike, thank you so much. Nice to meet you. And
Likewise.
And you're right. I mean, art is everywhere, and people that see art are everywhere. And it's something I'm not any. I think I can do penmanship. I think people can read my writing, and that's about about the extent of it. And I do doodle when I am on the call. I'm the one that needs to have it submitted to a psychiatrist to see what. How many boxes did he draw? How many lines did he draw? Oh, you know what that means. No, tell me.
That's how you keep people on the edge of their seat.
do I want to know? What's going on? Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. Well, I hope you get to keep doing art as long as you want to continue on doing that.
Totally enjoy it. Totally enjoy it.
And he's very talented. We were super excited to have him. I'm sorry, you were still talking.
No, that's quite all right. That's quite all right.
Sorry, Mike.
No, I just enjoy. I enjoy sharing my art with people. Mm-hmm. So that's the main thing, is to just let them see another point of view.
Yeah,
so that's really.
Well, when you're drawing a car or a vehicle, that's pretty. That's not open to a lot of interpretation, mm-hmm. but some of your things, you probably have drawn some things that people have looked at, and what they think it means to them is not anything like what
they have. They have a total 100% concept of what that means, and they'll share it with me, and I was like, I never thought of that. Honestly,
but that's okay, right?
No, that's okay. Exactly. Yeah. They are 100% sure that what I'm conveying to them, and when they explain it to me, I have no idea. That wasn't my direction at all. And sometimes there isn't necessarily a plan.
Right.
I'm not trying to necessarily get a message across, mm-hmm. or it's just an art piece that inspired me, and I wanted to complete it and see what I could come up with. And so just the fact that people makes them think a little is a great deal. It means a lot. And what I've found is I do a lot of workshops with younger kids, schools and things. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be 100% precise. They just enjoy it. I've done some things that I've drawn some horses that look more like a overgrown dog or something, and the kids love it. They just love it. So it does not have to be a necessarily fine art piece, and the kids just enjoy it, and it motivates them.
Right.
Because art is not the strongest field in the schools anymore, so we have to push it where we can.
No, it's important to a degree in many school districts, but not. I'm the son of an 8th grade art teacher, but I think at that level, quit throwing it on the wall.
This is true.
Fortunately, I never had my dad as a teacher. I went to a different junior high school, so that was probably for the best.
You'd have been grounded at home as well. So.
Well, I was, but not for that. But anyway, well, that is great. People need to go by the Ocotillo and check it out. And then if they see your name, if your name pops up on an upcoming event or show, they need to come and
who that is.
Check it out.
We're having his artist reception tomorrow at 6:30.
Oh, okay.
Partnering with Paint With Us, Kelly agreed to sponsor, and he take the class, her painting class, and so come on down.
When is that?
That is tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow's Friday the 24th, right? I'm not going crazy because things have been fast and furious lately. I'm telling you. So we'll have him down.
So if you're not going to the football game or taking part in any of the homecoming stuff, and not everybody does.
Yeah. Come on down.
Most
we'll have
people
refreshments.
Do. No.
Kelly Speckhart's teaching a painting class, and
that'd be a good time to go because
that'd be a fantastic time to go.
Yeah, and you're going to be at the reception.
Yes,
that's fantastic.
Bring your friends, bring your family.
Look forward to meeting people.
Yeah, that's great. We've got a couple minutes left.
Sure.
How are we doing on Art in the Park?
Oh, man, we are lined out. We had a huge influx recently. I want to say we have close to maybe even just a little over 50.
Okay.
We even have a few truck vendors now. I wish I could give you names, but my brain is off in left field today. Some exciting news. I also now have our fall art pop-up contest coming up.
Okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Ashley Mason. Elizabeth Jackson, before I get people confused because there's a bunch. And Nancy Dunn for helping me get that together. So I hope you enter. I will get you the application for that.
Okay.
And
that's an online deal, right?
well, not for the, it's an all media but art. So it will be both virtual. People can vote on Facebook and also come in and vote by. It's all popular.
But how is the art? How are the entries submitted? In person or online, or
it will be in person.
In person.
We
Okay.
used to use the Vendini system for that. We don't use that anymore. So they can come in with their application. We'll be putting the application out, sending them out to a lot of people. You'll be getting one.
Okay. Very good.
And so it's going to be all ages, from 2 all the way up to 99. So if you can create art, bring it in.
Okay.
And the cool thing is, like I said, it's kind of backwards. You sign up, everybody gets the prompt on the same day. Then they'll have roughly just a little under 2 weeks to create their artwork, and that artwork gets submitted into the show.
Got it.
So,
okay. And then
we've also got George Casey coming up.
I was
Before
going to ask you about the International Irish
Comedians. So if you want to come over for a show.
Yeah. Apparently nobody else in Ireland comedians in Ireland are allowed to travel internationally other than George Casey.
Yeah, no, I was chatting with him on I was chatting with him on the phone the other day. Really super nice guy. We're excited to have him. And
now, how many times did you say, "You have such a great accent"?
Oh, probably like 5 or 6. But I love a good accent, and I can't really do very good ones because every time I try to do an Irish accent, it sounds a little bit like,
I
my
hope
Lucky
you
Charms.
didn't do that.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
And now he's going to hear this and be like,
they're
Lindsay,
probably tired of hearing that.
darling, that wasn't funny. But yeah, no, get your tickets to George Casey, guys. He's going to be awesome. $30 for adults, $15 for kids. And we also have a limited supply of buy 2 for $50.
Okay. You might ask him if the I was going to say if the Irish terrorists in the movie Ronin are still running around.
I hope not.
No, don't ask. Don't ask that. I don't know where my mind goes when I think of that.
Yeah, and get your applications in. The deadline has passed for $75, and October 10th is the last date that you can get your vendor booth
for Art in the Park.
Yep. And we are now filling up pretty quick.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, good.
Well,
Mike, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to meet you.
Lindsay, good to see you too. I think Jamie wants to holler at you before you run out. So
Good to know.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that is great.
I
As
don't-
long as
I
she's
don't
not
mean
going to actually holler at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I get it because that's something my dad says. Hey, I'll holler at you later. Okay, Dad.
The funniest thing, when I moved to Alabama, I'm from Iowa, and when you want to get somebody's attention, you say hi. Hi.
Yep.
Or when you want to say hi to somebody, you say hi. When you want to get their attention, you say, hey. So I moved down to Alabama, and everybody's going, hey. And I'm going, what? And they're like, no, hey.
Hey is their hi.
Is
right?
hi, yeah. So that was the hardest thing for me to get used to, because people would go, hey, Gene. I'd go, what? And they go, no. We're saying hi. So
If it makes you feel any better, sometimes I don't always know how my dad's going to answer the phone when I call him.
yeah.
He's definitely like the quintessential Texas redneck. And so I remember one time I called my dad to ask him a question, and the first thing out of his mouth before I even said hi was, where were you when Latin Instruct the Outhouse? I think I've told you this story before.
Yes. Where were
So
you in
just
Lightning
like,
Struck the Outhouse? Yes, I was reading a magazine. All right, thanks a lot. Good to see y'all.
Yeah, thanks, Gene.
And we'll see you again real soon. We're going to